A few days ago, I jumped out of a plane. Literally, I did a tandem skydive from 18,000 feet, something I never thought I'd have the courage to do. I wasn't scared of the height itself, but the unknown. That moment, when the door opened, the wind rushed in, and I realized there was no turning back. But once we jumped, it didn't feel like falling. It felt strangely peaceful. That moment reminded me, fear doesn't always mean danger. Sometimes it just means you are stepping into something new. And that's what today's video is about. How to face change, even when it feels like you are free falling at first. Because being scared of change, it's more common than people admit. It can show up when you can't sleep, because your mind keeps whispering. What if? When you open an email and you feel your stomach tighten. When you smile at work, but deep down you're worried things might fall apart. We've been there too. I moved countries, led changes people didn't want, and faced the moments when I doubted my own voice. Through all of that, I realized something simple. Change never really gets easier. We just get stronger, and that strength starts with asking the right questions. Whether you are managing a team, leading a business, or navigating a big life change, these 8 questions helped me, and they might help you build clarity and confidence when things feel uncertain. Number 1, am I willing to get comfortable with being uncomfortable? The first step in handling change is learning to stay steady when things feel uncertain, because that's where growth begins. A few years ago, I led the global project to introduce a new digital HR system. Managers were still using paper forms, manually tracking absences and approvals. It was slow but familiar. Many of them were proud of how they managed things. When I announced the new system, the room went quiet. Someone said, half-jokingly, HR's making our jobs harder again. I understood their frustration because change always strengthens comfort. So instead of forcing it, I ran a SWOT analysis with the team. I also introduced a short trial period and invited feedback. Within 2 months, reports that used to take half a day could be done in minutes. Managers saved several hours a week, and accuracy improved. One manager smiled and said, "You've given me my Fridays back." So discomfort isn't the bad side. It's proof that progress is happening. When you handle it with openness and structure, people start to follow your lead. Number 2, am I asking, why me? Or what can I do about it? When big change happens, our first thought is often, why me? I've heard it many times, and I've felt it too. During a major restructuring, the office was heavy with silence. People were scared, uncertain, even angry. One colleague with a young family said quietly, "I don't even know how to start again." I couldn't change the outcome for everyone, but I could change how they felt through the process. So my team and I stopped hiding behind formal messages and started having real conversations. We worked with the local agencies and the industry networks to help people find new roles. Within weeks, around 40% had already secured their next jobs, some even better than before. Later, a few told me, "I didn't like what happened, but I appreciated how it was handled." That's what reframing really means. It's not pretending things are fine. It's helping people focus on what they can do next. When everything feels out of your control, start small. Ask yourself, what can I do about it? That one question can change everything. Number 3, what can this chaos teach me? Not every environment is tidy and structured, but every chaos can teach us something valuable. One of the companies I worked for expected advanced system, laptops, clear processes like the companies I worked for before. Instead, I walked into organized chaos. To shared computers, piles of paperwork, phones ringing all day. HR was constantly firefighting. At first, I thought, this can't be right. But then I started noticing the small things. How people helped each other without being asked. How they managed to laugh even on stressful days. I began introducing small improvements, a shared tracker, weekly updates, checklists. They were not perfect, but they worked. That job taught me something I will never forget. Structure makes work easier, but human warmth keeps work alive. You don't always need to fix every storm. Sometimes it's enough to stay steady inside it. Number 4, am I doubting my value or just adapting my mindset? Change can shake even the most confident person. I used to replay every meeting in my head, ask myself, did I sound professional enough? Did people understand what I'm saying because of my accent? It was exhausting, the constant effort to sound like everyone else. Then one day, after a presentation, a colleague said, I love how clear that was. That was my turning point. My accent wasn't a weakness. It was proof that I built the career in a second language. I focused on meaning, not perfection. And something interesting happened. When I became more confident, people started listening differently. Self-doubt doesn't mean you are not capable. It means you care. Growth isn't about changing who you are. It's about owning who you are, even as the world changes around you. Number 5, have I prepared people or just informed them? During one company relocation, leadership saw opportunity, a better site, closer to their business partners, more space to grow. But employees saw disruption. Parents worried about children's school, longer commutes, higher costs. I led that relocation project, and I knew information alone wasn't enough. People didn't just need updates, they needed understanding. So we rolled out the plan in stages. We offered visits to the new site, flexible relocation times, and extra support for families. Managers were trained to listen first and respond second. Slowly, fear turned into curiosity. One employee told me, "You've thought about things we didn't even know how to ask." By the end, over 85% of staff moved with us. Change worked not because it was easy, but because people felt heard. Facts inform, but the care makes people stay. Number 6, am I choosing clarity over comfort? During a business sale, uncertainty filled the air. People whispered in the corridors, checked job sites during lunch, and avoided eye contact during a meeting. Some managers stayed quiet, hoping to keep things calm. But silence made the worry worse. So I started weekly Q&A sessions. I told everyone honestly what we knew and what we didn't. After one session, someone said, "At least now I know where I stand." Within a month, the repeated question dropped by more than 30%, and people started focusing on work again. Clarity doesn't take fear away, but it gives people solid ground to stand on. As Carl Biener once said, "They may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel." Communication during change isn't about avoiding pain. It's about handling it with fairness and dignity. Number 7, do I start with curiosity and then act on it? Our first reaction to change decides everything. Fear closes us off. Curiosity opens us up. When I hear about the new change, I usually start by asking, what's really behind this? But not everyone reacts the same way. During one big transition, a colleague said, "You seem excited, but I'm terrified." That moment reminded me curiosity needs compassion. So I slowed down, listened more, and helped others move at their own pace. Curiosity helps you stay open-minded, but empathy helps others walk with you. Number 8, am I being nice or being fair? This one took me years to understand. I always wanted to be kind, to protect people from bad news. But sometimes kindness means avoiding truth, and that causes more pain later. Once I delayed a difficult conversation because I didn't want to upset someone. When they finally heard the full story, they said, "I wish you'd tell me sooner." That moment stayed with me. Since then, I've learned that fairness builds longer trust than comfort. Being fair doesn't mean being cold. It means caring enough to tell the truth with respect. Being nice feels kind today. Being fair builds trust over time. Change will always test us, our patience, our confidence, and sometimes our identity. But every time we go through it, something inside us grows stronger. The fear doesn't disappear, but it gets smaller. Because change doesn't get easier, we just get stronger. And that's how we grow. If you are running a small business, I encourage you to read a book called The E-Myth, Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It by Michael Gerber. It explains why so many owners get trapped doing all the work themselves, and how to build systems so your business can run without you rescuing every detail. It may give you clarity and comfort if you are feeling stuck. I will put the link in the description below. I may earn a small commission if you use it, but that doesn't matter. The main thing is this book could really help you.